Welcome back to Men, Menopause, and Miracles, the podcast where midlife women explore who they are becoming and how they want to show up in love, connection, and the next chapter of their lives. Yesterday was International Women's Day, so a very belated warm wish to all women in midlife and beyond. And welcome to anyone who's new and listening for the first time. We're here every Monday talking about men, hormones, dating, connection, menopause, and all the relational shifts that happen when a woman begins rediscovering herself in midlife. I'm Suzanne, your host and your midlife wingwoman, and I'm here to help you navigate the relational side of midlife with curiosity, confidence, and just enough courage to follow that spark when it appears. So, in today's episode, we're talking about flirting, the subtle art of connection, the signals we send and receive, and why midlife might actually be the perfect time to rediscover your playful relational side. This is episode 41, Flirting in Midlife, the Lost Art of Spark. So, not the lost ark, but the lost arc of the spark. Yes, flirting is not something that we should put out to pasture in midlife. So last week I spoke about the miracle of connection, and flirting is about connection, right? I find that many midlife women are so busy adulting and in responsibility mode or overload that they may take themselves a little too seriously most days to remember to do so. I mean, when was the last time you flirted? And this goes for women in relationships, married or not. Have you forgotten how or just stopped trying altogether? When I connect with my friends, they say they enjoy flirting, want opportunities to flirt, but are they doing it? So sometimes that spark shows up in the most ordinary places. Picture this. You're standing in line for a coffee on a regular morning, nothing remarkable about the moment. You're thinking about your day, maybe scrolling on your phone, waiting for your name to be called, and then a man in front of you turns around and smiles and says something simple. Maybe it's about the long line, maybe it's about the pastry case, maybe it's nothing at all. But suddenly there's this tiny shift in the air, a moment of warmth, a little curiosity between two strangers. And as you walk away with your coffee, you find yourself wondering, wait a minute, was that flirting? And maybe an even more interesting question appears right behind it. Do I still know how to flirt back? I recently even had a friend sharing with me that a very similar situation happened to her while she was at the gas station. A man was flirting with her with kind smile, a few words, but she kind of brushed the flirt aside, quickly got in her car, and after the fact, she shared with me that she wished she would have engaged a little bit more. Midlife flirting often feels unfamiliar because many women have spent a few decades in roles where flirting really wasn't necessary, somewhere between building careers, raising families, or managing marriages and navigating the menopause. So many things. Many of us have just stopped thinking about flirting altogether. Not because we couldn't, but because life asked us to focus on everything else. So today we're talking about something that might feel a little forgotten, a little awkward, but hopefully a little exciting in reigniting our spark. So let's talk about flirting in midlife, what it looks like now, what it feels like, and why the spark, your spark, is still very much alive. Not the teenage version, not the performance version, but the alive, curious, feminine energy that signals interest without chasing. Flirting feels a little weird in midlife, right? Like we've missed the update on some kind of flirting software. So, I mean, it could also feel like we're trying to dance to music that we haven't heard in a while, say 20 years ago, and we're trying to get out there on the dance floor and use our same old moves. But the truth may surprise you that as a midlife woman, we are better often as flirters because flirting at this stage isn't so much about proving worth. It is about sharing aliveness. And that sounds fun, right? I think it does. And so let's examine a little bit about what flirting actually is. And I think this is where sometimes a little hesitancy can come from, as it's easy to misunderstand flirting as being very seductive or trying to impress or performing sexuality, but it's really not. Flirting is simply inviting someone into a moment of playful connection. It looks like curiosity, humor, little light teasing maybe, and warmth. It feels like energy moving between two people. Think of it as social jazz. You play a note, they play one back. I often say to my friends when thinking of or trying to flirt, exercise my flirt, it's kind of like playing catch. I throw a ball, aka a flirt, and then they throw one back. And if someone doesn't want to play ball or make music together to make a connection, then I know to find someone who does and move on. So, how to flirt in the dating apps, right? So, apps definitely changed how the first move goes. In midlife, especially, many men appreciate when a woman opens the door. And I know if you're like me, where we were raised from parents who were traditional and traditionally moving into a modern world, I think all of us at this point, and again, especially when you arrive to midlife, are like trying to figure out what's appropriate, what's right, what should I do, what should I not do. And this is so true. I reference sometimes online dating to being this like online bar or restaurant scene to you make a little eye connection, you send a smile or share a laugh. And it does seem that men want the reassurance a few times before they make a bold move to say, quote, come over to you and ask for your number or ask you out. But the key here is just simply lightness, not effort. Instead of interviews, questions like, what do you do? Where do you live? Try just being playful with curiosity. Some examples could be, you look like someone who has a great travel story. Tell me more. Or, serious question. Are you the kind of man who plans adventures or finds them accidentally? Another example, your smile suggests you might be a little trouble. The goal isn't perfection, it's energy. And I am personally aiming to exercise my flirt as a reminder. It's simply inviting someone into a moment of playful connection, curiosity, humor, light teasing or banter, and warmth. And just recently, I matched with someone on an app who shared that they were a personal trainer. And yes, with the help of ChatGPT, because I am definitely no expert or even great at one-liners. So, and especially online, there it's kind of hard to read body language and cues, right? So I get a little help from my friend ChatGPT, and I responded to this person who had been a personal trainer with, so, would dating you come with a workout plan or emotional cardio? I know, silly, he laughed, it was playful, but just engaging, getting into the engagement and using flirting as a way to engage with someone again outside of like some really serious questions like I've had people ask, are you looking for marriage? And I don't know. Maybe it's me. I find that such a strong question in just getting to know someone and see if we have chemistry. Maybe after we've checked those things off, that might be a good next question. But flirting makes connection fun. When I think about the energy I'm putting out, and I'm not so focused on who are you? What can you do for me? Are we a good match? What are you going to do? Are you going to make plan? The list of these things, right? And I think it's just when we're being responsible in our lives, there's always a list to go through. So if we put down the list, all of those things will reveal themselves in time. But even if you're in a relationship or married, right, it is just as important to keep good energy and playfulness alive and well. And to me, that's AKA fun and not taking ourselves so seriously. So, off the apps, flirting in real life. Midlife flirting in real life is often quieter, but more magnetic. That could be holding eye contact a half a beat longer, a warm smile when someone catches your eye, playful banter with the barista or a man in line, and genuine curiosity in conversation. Oh, how even that, like I get so filled up when someone takes an interest in me, even if it's in the smallest of ways. So, flirting is often just being present and a little brave. You can do that, right? Many women forget that men in midlife are also unsure. It's new territory for both of us. A warm signal can go a long way. And then we need to take in reality the menopause layer, right? In midlife, there's hormonal changes that can impact your confidence, your libido, your body image, and your emotional openness. So, flirting in menopause sometimes becomes less about seduction and more about reclaiming vitality. And midlife flirting isn't about, looking like you're 25 again. It's about realizing you still have spark, magnetism, humor, and presence. And those qualities deepen with age. I think they are richer, wiser, and hold more beauty. So, a gentle challenge for you this week. I invite you to practice flirting. Smile at someone you find interesting. Start one light conversation, even if it's, have you had coffee here? What's a good suggestion? Isn't it great weather we're having? I know weather's always a go-to for me if I can't think of anything else. Send one playful message on an app if you're there. And yes, even use ChatGPT if you need a little help. Think of it as a virtual wing woman helping you exercise your playful banter. And notice when someone flirts with you. Take it in. Flirting is a muscle of curiosity and courage. And like any muscle, it wakes up when you use it. Flirting in midlife isn't about chasing attention, it's about remembering that you are still a woman who can create spark in a room, across a table, or through a message on a screen. And sometimes that spark leads to a connection. Sometimes it leads to romance, and sometimes it simply reminds you that you are still very much alive. So before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a small reminder. Flirting in midlife isn't about trying to be someone you were, again, 20 years ago. It isn't about performing, impressing, or chasing attention. It's about allowing a little curiosity back into the room, a little warmth in your smile, a little playfulness in the way you relate to others. And sometimes the spark isn't something you go looking for. It's something that appears when you're simply present, open, and willing to engage with the world around you. And with that, you might surprise yourself, or it might be the one spark that you need to light yourself up with a connection with who you are. So this week, notice those moments, the glance, the conversation, the small exchanges that make you feel alive and connected. Because the art of the spark was never something you lost. It may have just been waiting for you to remember it. And as always, I am Suzanne, your host and your midlife wing woman, reminding you that midlife isn't the end of the story when it comes to connection, attraction, and possibility. Sometimes it's exactly where the most interesting chapter begins. If today's episode reminded you of the beauty of your own energy and the spark that still lives within you, take a moment to like, subscribe, or follow so you don't miss what's next. New episodes drop every Monday. And if this conversation made you smile, share the love of flirting in midlife with a friend so you can swap some stories with. Send them this episode and start the conversation. Heck, you could even send this episode to the person you're flirting with and blame it on here for giving you the idea to do so. This is Menopause and Miracles. Until next week, take care of yourself, stay open to connection, and keep an eye out for those little connections along the way. Until next time, be well and bye for now.